Hello, everyone, and welcome to this segment of YourTown TV brought to you by the Arts Council. We feature renowned leaders and artists in the arts and cultural scene in our region. And joining us today is Elizabeth Congo from Interim. Now, Interim Inc. is a very unusual organization in that it operates a number of programs about which we'll hear from Elizabeth. So welcome, Elizabeth. Thank you so much for joining us today, and tell us about your involvement, your role and involvement with Interim.
Thank you so much, Arlene. Well, I run the day treatment program, the Choices Day Treatment Program. I'm the clinical specialist there. And so we do a lot of art therapy there. Every day we have an art therapy class, and we do the healing arts too. The Choices Day treatment is for people who are in crisis, people who have severe mental illness, and sometimes they also have the substance issues too. And so our job is to really teach coping skills and ways to manage their emotions so that they can live better lives and be more stable and stay out of the hospital and things like that.
So I read on your website that Interim works with the homeless, with displaced children and families, with people with mental illness, and it operates a broad spectrum of programs, from affordable housing to mental health care, to what you're involved in, the Choices, Arts as Healing. Tell us a little bit about these programs before we delve more deeply into the arts.
Yeah, Interim is a really integral part of our community, and we work with definitely work with housing. They have the whole Macomb program that helps people that are homeless, people with severe mental illness get housing. And then we have the Bridge House program, which is rehab for people with substance issues that have severe mental illness. And it's a 6-month program, and they're just opening a day treatment program there too, so that clients can go to the new Bridge House day treatment, and that's going to be open in May or April or May. And so that's going to be a marina. The Bridge House has been in Monterey. They're moving to Marina. We also have Manzanita, which has some art groups, I believe. And Manzanita is a crisis house for people that are in crisis. They can stay there for up to a month or up to 3 months or something like that. Manzanita is opening a new place in Monterey, and so they're in Salinas, and now they're going to have two places in the county.
So how many people does Interim work with every year?
I don't know.
Extraordinary.
I don't know the exact number, but there's a lot of people that we serve, and a lot of people were getting housing because of all the different. We have the Omni Center. Choices is in Salinas at the Pajaro Wellness Center, and in that center, there's the Choices program for the day treatment, and we do 6 hours of therapy every day, 6 groups of therapy every day for people. And then we have the C's program, where it helps people get jobs and helps people go to school. So all this is for people that have mental illness. And then we have the Omni Center, which is a real social place that people love to go to. They have a breakfast every day. A lot of times they have lunch. They have groups. They have a lot of art groups. I think I have some slides about some rocks that the clients there have made. And they say things like hope and just what healing means to them.
So how do people get referred to or come to learn about Interim?
Well, we work with Monterey County Behavioral Health, and so their case coordinators will refer their clients to the different programs that Interim has, whichever one their clients need. And Interim does have some clients that they work with independently, but it's all interwoven with the mental health system. That's how we are funded.
So for the Arts Council, we say the arts is the answer, because we understand the value of helping people discover the creative or right side of the brain. And this year, as in so many parts of the nation, our emphasis is on the arts as healing, because we've seen that incredibly transformative power of the arts to help an individual. So tell us more now about the Choices program and what you do and what kind of changes you've seen on the people participating in the program?
Well, the arts are a big part of what we do. Walter and Truett are two of the therapists at Choices, and they do art therapy almost every day, or creative expressions is what we call it. This can be, one of the things we were doing last week is people drawing how they felt, had an outline of the body, and they felt into their body and they drew what it felt like. And so this kind of art therapy type of art is really helpful for people getting in touch with their body, getting in touch with how they feel, which can be really healing. When you stay up in your mind a lot, when you come into your body, that's where the real healing can start. And starting to know how you're feeling, being able to pay attention to how you're feeling, and then you can learn to make a choice on how you react to that. So
is that where the name Choices comes from? It's about learning how to...
Maybe. Healthy choices, I think. I think it really is talking about healthy choices, yeah.
So besides drawing, have you used other forms of the arts, like music or dance, for people to become involved in their body, their physical selves?
We have. We do often do a drumming group, and the clients love that. They ask for that. And sometimes we have musicians. Our clients are often extremely talented people. We've used writing. We write poetry in that group, and we do dance. Sometimes we have done some dance. And one thing, I've been teaching Qigong for about 25 years. So it's a healing art. And so we do that once a week at least. Sometimes we do it more. And with Qigong, it's really helpful because if you have, for instance, rumination or racing thoughts, there's actual practices you can do to target the organ that's coming from, like the spleen and stomach is the earth element. So if people are having trouble with thoughts and racing thoughts, there's actual practices I can teach, and then we do those practices and it can help. And then they can take the practices home and do those, add them in. But there's, like, if you're feeling paranoid or scared, there's actual practices for that. Grief, there's practices to help let go. And there's practices for anxiety. And so we can target with Qigong, the practices for that.
So do you help identify the mental illness through the therapy and then chart a course of healing for the client? We do. And that encompasses a lot of therapy, and art is part of that. So we do, when the clients come, we work with the client and make a treatment plan for just the 3 weeks or so that they're with us. Sometimes they're longer than 3 weeks, but we ask for 3 weeks. And then the client will really tell us what the main reason they're there, because it's a crisis situation usually, and so they'll tell us what they're working on and what they want to happen, and we'll help target our groups for that. So most people come in this scenario of Choices, for a minimum of 3 weeks. Yes, that's what we hope. Yeah. And so you don't know if they'll come back because other factors in life might hinder them. Maybe, but people like Choices, so they seem to stay longer usually, But sometimes there's physical illness and different things that's going on that makes them where they Have you ever worked with artists who come in rather than just you who has your healing arts or the therapist, but actually having some of our teaching artists at the Arts Council come in and work with you all? Right, I haven't, but we would be so open to that. We would love that. Well, it's part of the Arts Council's initiative. It's not, we have a professional artist in the schools program, but we also are doing a number of initiatives in the community, which we call our community arts program. And in that scenario, for example, we work with veterans, and they did an incredible mural out at Martinez Hall in Marina, and that was very healing. And we've done an award-winning healing program with young men in the Juvenile Detention Center, and that has received nationwide recognition as well as grant support from the California Arts Council. So I'm just wondering how those can meld together.
Well, they can. We can talk, and we would love to have the art therapist or the artist come and lead us, and whatever activity we could have, something like a mural or something, smaller, whatever.
And maybe even to help the educators or the professionals
be
like
great.
yourself to
Right.
increase your range of skills.
That would be wonderful, yeah.
So tell us a story, if you can, of course anonymous, about an individual who had a severe crisis. I guess every crisis is severe.
Can be. Some are more severe than others.
Yeah, and came to choices and what the outcomes were. So we have some uplifting stories of success in your program.
Some of our clients are artists when they, they're just artists when they come. And so we had a lady that was battling a lot of suicidal ideation, a lot of self-harm, and she's an artist. And so one thing she likes to do, she calls it coloring. But I actually have one of her pictures is a wolf, and I think that she actually, with the adult coloring book, she colored that, and it just comes to life. It looks like, wow, it's just amazing to see the power in that, in her art. And she does a lot of cards now and things like that, but she would color, she did a lot of drawing at Choices, and it was a real cathartic way for her to let go of some of the pain, I think. And to distract herself from negative thoughts. And she's doing a lot better. Yeah. And so, has been fairly stable for quite a period of time now. Since she left, so.
Well, that's one success story. Do you have another one with a different form of the arts, or is most of it
Well,
drawing?
a lot, some people, when I do the Qigong, some people don't connect with it, but some people do. So there will be a few people that really connect with it. There was one client that found out she had colon cancer, and she had already connected to a practice that would help that heal before we knew that was her issue. And so she's still doing that practice now. So, some of the clients connect with different forms of art. We've had a musician who really liked the drumming group. So
what's ahead? Well, what can you tell us are your hopes or realities of what's ahead for the Choices program in particular and for Interim in general?
Well, Choices is not the only program that uses art. Omni uses art a lot.
Omni does?
Omni is the social center that's in the Pahara Wellness Center with Choices. So there's the SEAS program and the Choices program. The SEAS is the one that helps people go to school and get jobs, and the Omni Wellness Center is a social place, and they also have groups. They have a lot of creative expression there, and so that would be a wonderful place too for the Monterey Council on the Arts to plug into, because there's a lot of art that goes on there. And then also the Bridge House program does art a lot, art therapy. And I think the Manzanita has a group there that they do art. So a lot of the programs are using that.
Are using arts for healing.
Yeah.
It's interesting because we had Dr. Ron Friedman, the chair of the board of the Carmel Guitar Society, and they do programs going into convalescent homes and hospitals. Perhaps we should marry Interim with the Guitar Society and have you benefit each one another.
That would be beautiful.
By having music and the guitar in particular for a healing practice.
Well, I think that's wonderful, and I think what we're talking about is community, and I think that's the main issue, that Interim really brings a community to people. And I think as much connection as Interim has and the clients of Interim have with the Arts Council, with other people who are doing art, and being part of the community is extremely healing in itself. So the building of community, I think, is where that's what we're doing, and that's my hopes.
So is Interim a nonprofit that people can contribute to, and how long has it been around, and how many people do you serve?
I'm not sure how many people we serve, but I think it started in the 80s. I'm not positive. I should have looked at all this, but it's been around a long time, and it really came to serve a need when the funding, when the mental health funding went away in the 80s, then Interim and some other nonprofits stepped in to really help people and to fill that need. And it evolved over time. Barbara Mitchell has been our executive director for a long time. Mm-hmm. And since very close to that area. She started, I think they started a cookie factory, and they started for people to make cookies and sell them to have a form of livelihood. Yeah. She and the Interim board found out very early that having housing is a big deal.
Yes,
and so people can't get regulated if they don't have a safe place to live. So that's why Interim really started to work with the housing. And it's just kind of grown and grown since then. Choices is a very new program, for instance. So we've only been operating since September of 2016. So, but it's just growing. Like the day treatment at Bridge is growing. So, and Manzanita's growing now. So it's still growing. It's very needed in the community.
That's wonderful to hear that this organization exists and is so multifaceted.
Right.
Now, I know you brought a number of images of some of the arts healing initiatives. Can you describe or talk to us about one in particular?
Sure. Let me think about one. Well, there is one client that has given a lot of her work, and I brought her work, and she's an artist, does a lot of anime, does a lot of Pokemon things. Her dream is to really be a judge at a Pokemon World conference, and so it's sort of a hobby with her, but it's really a healing thing for her too. So all the drawing she does a lot of drawing in the style of like the Pokemon art, but she can really use it to get into her body. I've noticed her using it more and more to get into her feelings and into her body and be present with how she's feeling.
Wow. So any last words that you'd like to say about your work or the work of Interim as we wrap up this segment of our program, and how people may support you and get involved?
Right. Well, we're nonprofit, so donations are always welcome. And it's Interim Inc. And you could just look it up. It's in Monterey County. And I just really appreciate you having us and bringing attention to Interim. And I love what the Arts Council is doing in Monterey County.
Well, thank you so much.
We're really lucky to have you guys here and working so hard.
Well, we have a wonderful board of directors and a wonderful staff led by Paulette Lynch, our executive director. And this year we're going to have our 4th annual Arts Education Summit.
Beautiful.
And the theme this year is
Healing Arts.
Healing Arts.
Right.
And we hope that you and others so involved in the arts in our region will join us for that. And we thank you for being here today, and we want to thank each of the guests for contributing so much to the vibrancy and dynamism of the arts in our region. Please look us up at thearts4mc.org. Thank you.